Thank you very much. Well, I remember standing here 2 years ago saying that we might get planning permission to build a new Westgate Centre, and that was after 15 years of trying, and that's in the modern era. You can actually go back about 30 years. So what I'm going to do is just give an update on where we are. So I'm just going to show about 12 or 13 slides, covering a variety of subjects, but it just gives you an update, because of course we've now started. So first of all, I'm not going to read that out, but what I can say about that is that it's not a shopping centre. I mean, you might think, why is he saying it's not a shopping centre? But what I mean is that it's a destination. This is somewhere that will open early in the morning. It will have restaurants open till 12:30, early morning, with a cinema. It will have public space. It will have events. So it's a destination. It's a day out shopping. It's also a day out in Oxford, because we're very much going to use Oxford as the star of Westgate. We could try and be like Milton Keynes. We could try to be like Reading, but we're not. We've got culture. They've got cars and big roads and that kind of stuff. So we're going to focus on our strengths. This slide shows you the design of the Bond Square entrance, which is Queen Street. And there's a couple of things to point out there. First of all, there's this, and that is a new tower that we've designed to put above the library. And that tower changes in the light conditions during the day. It's never the same twice, if you get what I mean. And at night, we'll put a soft light through it, so it'll become a bit of a landmark for the new development. Something else to point out is the signage. We've designed the signage, and it very much complements the building, the stonework on the front there. You'll also notice John Lewis. So John Lewis, feature quite prominently on signage throughout the building. Just a summary of where we are. The current owners, that's the Westgate Oxford Alliance, which is the Crown Estate, and a company called Land Securities purchased in 2010. And you can see there that we got planning permission in 2014, and we started on site in January 2015. We're opening in 18 months' time. For those who maybe don't know it, this is an overhead plan of the Westgate site. And basically the existing shopping centre was in this position. That's Bond Square. And here is the cut line, as we call it. We're currently doing a lot of demolition in this area. We're taking the back of the old centre off. We've demolished the car park. And the steelwork of the new structure is starting to emerge here. A lot of people say 18 months, that's not a long time. There's nothing to see at the moment. But the steelwork actually goes up very quickly, and it starts to emerge very quickly at this point. Something else to throw in, not necessarily Westgate, but it's the Castle Quarter. And the company I work for have recently purchased Castle Quarter. We think that it will work well with Westgate. It will always be a separate brand, if you like. It will always be called Castle Quarter. But it will have the resource behind it of Westgate, which is fantastic. It will really boost Castle Quarter in the longer term. And, it is, parts of it are successful, some parts less successful. The Malmaison is the most successful Malmaison in the UK, believe it or not. But some of the units further back have got fairly poor visibility from the street, and they struggle. So it hasn't fully reached its potential yet. Back to Westgate. This says January 2016. It's moved on a bit since then. So this is our drone, which we fly quite regularly. And a couple of things to point out. I think you've got your bearings, but that's the old centre. The car park used to be there. And some of the new features, that crane is standing on the perfumery and cosmetics department of the new John Lewis store. And here is the underground car park of 1,000 spaces, and that goes right across the site. We've got about 100 new shops, coming from here and in that direction. We've got 6 tower cranes up now, and there will be 1 more added in the next few weeks. This is an odd slide. It's archaeology, and that is the old, this street's Old Grey Friars Street. That's the old Franciscan friary, and it's sat in this area here. And I won't go into it too much, but we had 11,000 people on site looking at that. We found quite a lot of stuff, a lot of shoes, believe it or not, and a lot of bags. About a month ago, we found a medieval pavement, like a tiled pavement, which we'll probably put on the wall in the new centre. But for anybody who knows Trilmill Stream, which runs underneath Oxford and comes out at Christchurch, that is the site of Trilmill Stream. So that was an open waterway once upon a time. And the car park was built over all of this. I mean, it's incredible what's beneath your feet. That's been quite a novel feature of the development. This is a shot of, well, the completed scheme. Gives you an idea of the scale. You might think it looks big, and I suppose it does, but the odd thing is if you looked at an overhead photograph before with the multi-storey car park, it actually went to about here anyway. So a few features there. You've got Bond Square, you've got the old centre but refurbished, you've got where the demolition cut line is, then you move into a new part. We've got an open 24-hour cross route here. There's a public square underneath, and there's the new shops and restaurants. And here we've got a new public event space, which is 70 metres by 30 metres. So it's the largest sort of public space built in Oxford for a long, long time. John Lewis, a couple of very large stores here, and some residential. There's 52 apartments there. Another feature to point out, it's not really shown on here, but this is our rooftop area, and that will look out across the city, the spires, and there's an exhibition space there. It's an outdoor garden area. There's 11 restaurants up there, and it's a very pleasant experience. So we've got things planned up there like yoga, during the day, various other classes. We've got things for young mothers, for example, family activities, that kind of thing. And we put big screens up and show Wimbledon in the summer, for example, that kind of thing. So it's something very new for Oxford. I'm not going to dwell on this one too much, but we were asked to design something that was under something called Brianne, which is an environmental benchmark. And we've been asked to produce something which is very high on that benchmark, and it will be. I'm not going to go into the technical stuff, but I mean, some novel things is that on the roof we'll have a herb garden and a vegetable garden, and we'll be using the proceeds of that in the restaurants. We'll have beehives and various other novel things, bat boxes and all sorts of things. And again, lots of novel things, lots of schools involved on an ongoing basis with that. This is a view of the old centre, actually. If you walked in through the front doors, as was, you would have seen Primark about there. But we're going to cut that into about 4 units, double height as we call them. So they will be brand new to Oxford. And you can see there, as you look down the Mall, where the new build comes in, the new structure. If you got to that point and looked further down over where the old multi-storey used to be, you would get a view pretty similar to that. And what we've got here is the way up to the roof. There's lifts there as well. And a customer service lounge we've got in there as well. So you can get some idea of the scale and the quality of the finish. Food. Shopping centres these days are full of restaurants, believe it or not. You normally aim for about 20 to 23% of your space to be eating. Various reasons for that. You can't eat on the internet. And you've also got a situation where shopping and eating go very well together. There's a cinema in this scheme as well, a 5-screen Curzon cinema. So we've got lots of different options to eat, throughout the day. So the marketing people have been working on various things. So we've got, stuff like food with conscience, grab and go, that kind of stuff. All the ones I've seen so far are not in Oxford. There's been a lot of restaurant letting. None of them are currently in Oxford. They're all new brands. Perhaps the most important thing is the customer experience. So we spend a lot of time. We've been working for actually a couple of years on this. And we've got 3 sort of groups that have been working away. So access, very important in Oxford, of course. Customer service and tourism and events. This is a very complicated slide, but this is journey mapping. So what we've done here is we've looked at the journey, say, of a family, of a single person, of an older person, and it just gives you an indication of the sort of work that's gone into it. We've done a lot of market research. We've sent people out driving into Oxford, getting buses into Oxford, cycling into Oxford. Got masses of data on how long it takes, what it's like, even though we know Oxford very well, of course. So a lot of thought on that. And with that, I'm being waved at, so okay. Thank you.